March on.
So it happens to everyone.
But Lions Creed versus DFG, we have to talk about this one. Because it was such, how do I put this? It was a weird start, but the perfect one.
I mean, they held the line at the start, right? And then they just fisted on all three lanes in every single hole that they gave them. It was entered. And, you know, at the end, one team got a little bit, and the other team, got everything that they wanted from the exchange.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reason I had that there was partly for the jokes, because we were laughing about it, but two was because, let's be for real, they were put to the sword, and, like, they empowered it with all the extra stuff, and bot dive happened relatively early. It wasn't off a 3 camp, it was off a full clear in. It was a bit ugly, the Lee Sin dies, but the point is, the Ezreal still loses an entire wave. It's down 20 CS, is zoned off from earlier than that as well. The Kalista gets double kills, from there, Shift then just has every lane losing. We know they're not that great from behind to begin with, certainly not that stable, and every lane collapses after that point, really. There's a little bit of an attempt towards the bot side where it gets a bit different, but the Kalista's never touched again, so the snowball from that is clean. Lions Creed snowball, well, we know that already. They do it again this game. DMG didn't have much to say about it.
So let's talk with Jinjo from Lions Creed that is waiting for us in the interview. Jinjo, welcome to the show. Another W for you. Hello.
Hey guys, thank you.
So it's the good start you were hoping for the second half of the split, I hope, because Lions Creed were kind of mixed in between at the beginning of the first half, but it seems like things are getting clean. Do you feel the same?
Look, this game, I suppose, it was quite one-sided. But when it comes to our gameplay, I think what we came into the split with mentality-wise is that we don't want to pick champions like Corki. We don't want to pick champions that are going to scale, because the chances of us being able to win games by turtling is probably quite high. We could pick champions that scale quite hard, but I'm glad that we're going for the aggressive early game approach, because I do think as the season progresses, it'll allow us to be a little more versatile with how we like to play the game. So I think we've definitely been trying a riskier style in the sense that we need to execute well, and we have made some serious mistakes, and you can see that from the matches. But yeah, I'm glad that today was a little bit cleaner. And yeah, look, behind the scenes, I'm quite happy with how practice is going.
That has got to be the best answer so far. You gave us a lot, by the way. That is really interesting. So it seems like the team is willing to sacrifice some points just for the knowledge and experience of playing with other playstyles, because that allows you to also play versus the same playstyles you guys are playing right now, correct?
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, from watching some games from other regions, I try to keep up to date with Prime League, LFL, and LVP. I do think that perhaps the representatives of NLC, whether it be us or other teams, they might struggle with the pace, the early game pace in which these other regions are playing at, especially LVP and LFL. So, yeah, I'm glad that our vision is towards being versatile as a team, and whether that comes at losing some games in NLC, or, we got to make sure we have to make playoffs, and hopefully we can make it to EU Masters. But at the end of the day, it's about playing the game well. And whether that means we need to lose or win games, I don't care how the regular season looks. I don't care how people view us, whether they think we're a super team or not. By the end of the season, we need to be playing good, and that's it.
That's big. I love it. I love this so much. Thank you so much for the interview. I wish you the best, and let's see what happens for next week. Let's see if Lions Creed is going to keep rising and rising and rising. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks. Have a good night.
That was so good. That was actually so good. Veteran doesn't think so.
I mean, I'm wondering about his point, because he made the point that the LFL LVP Prime League play a faster early game than NLC does. I think to some extent that's true. There's a lot of contests in early phases in LFL LVP in particular, but there is an elongation of game time in those regions. But that is, when I think about it, primarily because they are constantly contesting each other irrespective of composition. So then the fact that the Lions Creed we just saw was a team that wants to be playing skirmish on pretty much every lane over and over again and utilize that threat to get the priorities that they have, that could be a really good feature of the team if they make it to EU Masters and if they make it up against these teams. My caveat there, though, is that whereas we did see them play this free lane style, and technically there is synergy there when all of them are winning lane and pushing forward. It's not the same kind of synergy that we saw from, say, RUD earlier, where they were all as a unit being patient. And I do think the LFL LVP teams, when they do their contests, it's mostly grouped contests rather than these individual lane contests. We don't really have a big split push team anymore now that Movistar Riders basically promoted into LEC, however you want to think about it. So I do worry about them struggling there. I need to see them pull this off against a team that forces them to have to act as a 5-man unit, because then we'll know if Lions Creek can do it.
I know we're on a timer, so I'll keep it short, but I think there is something to be said for the fact that, look, we want to be able to, if we get to that stage, we want to try and like prepare for that. Because actually, if you can't fight early, because these teams are going to, whether it's the right thing to do or not, then you're going to be in trouble. And that's good to hear that actually that's the mindset coming in. It's like, look, we don't want to just be able to play Corki. We want to be able to contest these teams, these kind of regions that are going to fight whether or not they should. And that needs to be something we're aware of and ready. So I think there's something to that.
So let's talk with the other side, with DMG. We have Ducks waiting for us in the interview. Quack, that's the introduction for you, by the way. Ducks, welcome to the league. How are you feeling?
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling good. I think it was a decent game, to be honest.
Okay.
It was very hard in draft. They got 3 pushing lanes against us, and it was not easy, but I think we still showed decently.
You got served a rough hand as well, because you jump in and, well, it's versus Lions Creed. It's not the best. Let's start the league with the right foot, is it?
No, not really. I'm used to playing in the English league, so that's
Exactly.
a bit below the NLC one.
So, you know, as soon as you say, I used to play in the Danish league, Duckling is coming for you, right? You know that. Because you're Danish, so he has to spread his love for Danish people. So, tell me something. Looking forward to the rest of the split, how do you feel your chances are right now? Obviously, it's not looking bright. You're coming in late as well. But how are you feeling towards the rest of the league?
I'm feeling hopeful. We had some good comms this game, and we were able to sort of counteract to the first invade. And I feel like if we just continue developing in that direction and making some plays of our own, I think we can get there with time.
Okay, so since we're getting to know you, let me know. What's your favorite playstyle? How do you like to play? I want to get to know you, Ducks.
Oh, I mean, I like Nautilus. I like just hooking in and then ulting anyone and then just killing that target. It's really nice.
So you just like to jump in and be proactive with the team. You don't like to play from the back, like with the Karm and stuff like that. You don't like to support from afar, do you? You want to fight.
Yeah, I just want to be in there, 2v2 team fight or whatever it is.
Love it. Ducks, thank you so much. That's a good introduction. Let's see what happens for the next week. And maybe if I get you on the interview, let's talk about how you're feeling with the team, okay?
Thank you. See you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely one. It's good to get to know these players, man. We gotta get to know them.
Rough intro, but again,
Obviously.
glad to hear that the confidence is there, right? Like the comms felt good. We felt like we had an idea about where to improve. That's all good stuff as Veteran is trying to hypnotize the audience.
But imagine this, Initialize. Imagine you have the battle between David and Goliath, right? And they're like, let's not call David.
Was a duck?
Let's call John. John, step in. And John comes in like, what do you mean? What do I do? I was... What is happening? I'm Danish. Like, that's all you have to say, you know? So it's a complicated introduction, but he still fought valiantly, and let's see what happens for the next week. But now, right after this game, we need to talk about Lightside versus Venom Crest. Is that it? Oh,
Yes.
I got it! I got it!
That's it.
Talk to me, Veteran! Talk to me!
That's it. The big team is here, right? So Venom Crest, I have a theory about them. I think this team plays ridiculously well around reset-based compositions. If they have a Viego, if they have a Pike, if they have a goddamn Belveth, they are on point and they know what their composition is looking to do. They're very good at focus firing on one particular target in any instance where they break all of these imaginary lines they have to be thinking about in team fights. But outside of that, I actually think they start to lack versatility. I think if you pick a sufficiently tanky disengage-based composition against them, they could actually be quite vulnerable. I think there is a strategy here against Venomcrest. They do one thing really, really well. Typically when the team is hitting the floor running, you have to find that one thing they do well, even if they aren't necessarily conscious of it themselves. They do at least know that they have preferences for these kinds of picks, but this is the thing that they are doing on the map that is so strong and teams need to account for. You can't just go like chase Corky into all of this and not expect someone to get blown up at some point.
This is match of the day as well, initialized.
Oh, yeah.
This is why we need to highlight Zubak, which was the MVP
Viego
on the
boy.
first half of the split. You were talking about him, initialize.
Yeah,
This is a big
Zubak
boy.
has been the tip of the sphere for this team. He has been hugely important in terms of their ability to find these wins. He and Pashy together have been such a scary unit. That's normally linked up with one of the additional lanes, be that mid lane, be that top lane, trying to get some of these picks rolling. And Veteran called it out, very heavily specializing in things like that Belveth and the Viego to get things rolling. This guy has got to keep your eyes on because he has always been where the action's about to happen on the map, for good or ill. When they have been shut down, and I turn my eyes back towards the Verdant game they lost last week, and he was on the Nocturne, they did kind of stymie his ability to get into the game. He still got some kills, but they made it really difficult for him to be that tip of the spear easily with the follow-up. And if you can find a way to make his life harder, the team looks a lot less good. Think, therefore, for Lightside, they will be keeping their eyes on the draft to see whether they can find ways to make that jungler's job harder in terms of the action he wants to bring to bear.
You talk about the champion select, and we got him, and out of a sudden Lilia is removed from the table because EMP has been a beast with it. Now, is Viego gone? Is Belveth gone? Are the reset
Catch
champions
comps as well,
gone
right?
as well? Yeah.
Because like if you get those and you don't have the big elements you want for reset comps, which is displacement, burst, and lockdown, if you don't get those three, then it is also very, very hard to pull it
Viego.
off. This is why the Senna compositions works really, really well. This is why the Seraphine works really well with it, because these are good parts of pick compositions, not just because of the sustain that it affords them. Karma, one of the best champions to run a pick composition with. Just put the E on the Maokai and let the guy do the rest of his job. Put the E on the Leona, let the guy do the rest of his job. Oh my days, man.
Let's
Speaking
go!
of catch, speaking
Let's
of
cook.
burst, my god, Bran, one of the best junglers in the meta right now. Literally an unbeatable
Disgusting.
clear. You pretty much just ban this if you play another kind of farming jungler. Assuming it is indeed jungle, this is Zubak trying to have a statement game. Big damage numbers can
Do
come
it.
out from this champ.
Yeah.
Do it.
And we've
I
asked
wanna
him to
see
be the
it.
tip of the spear, right? But one of the ways you can potentially deal with some of these, like, Brand's not quite a reset champ, but he is someone when he gets his ult rolling that's supposed to be like getting passive after passive after passive. God, add in a pike or something, you can really do a similar kind of deal, even if it doesn't quite act the same way as a champion. Senna's one of those options that is quite good into dealing with that. We saw that's what Verdant drafted to kind of make that comp quite hard for them before. Though that was with the Nocturne jungle, because wherever that pick is attempted to be, wherever Zubak is, you just press R and you can respond from across the map. If you add in something like Spicy for Ragnar as a potentially farming option with the center, if that's the route they go, it can be quite difficult then to make that bot lane a point of weakness too.
Senna compositions are usually very frontline heavy as well. That would typically be the exact kind of thing. And you have two of the things that we were talking about. There's the pike. So we're going to have Brand with a pike. Really easy composition to start getting resets on. Now you have the lockdown with green-purple Viego. So you have the displacement, you have the lockdown, and you have the burst already there. The Gragas that they were hovering was a quintessential part of reset comps back in the day. A Gragas-Lissandra combo is what you would normally see paired with something like a pike, because that immediately got all of the tools that I was just talking about. They're doing it here. Venomcrest may in fact be very, very conscious of the thing that I was talking about, that they're a team that plays for resets. If they get Pashy on Pike, they're playing for his resets. If they get Zubak on his Viego, they're playing for resets. If they get Zubak on Belveth, they're playing for resets. I'm interested to see if other players on that team do a similar thing, but I do love how all-in they are in this particular style. Let's see if LLS have figured it out.
Now, if I remember correctly, we have seen Torak draft the Jace mid before, so that might be what's going on here, especially if we're expecting that Rumble to go top, unless it is something random like the Rumble being drafted down towards the bot lane. We've seen a little bit of that around and about as kind of like a surprise pick here and there, though it has been pretty rare. The Gragas from Lenny will be something I'm expecting that to go towards Lenny. Will be something I think is in his wheelhouse, right? He has been weak side king for the last couple of weeks. He's been finding solo kills in 1v2s on Cassante and stuff. The Gragas will kind of do something similar where he doesn't have to be involved with everything else until team fights start happening, because he's not going to get that much attention because the Brand and the Pike are the stars here, as is often the case with Venom Crest. Now we're trying to see from the side of Lightside, what can we do to remove Deadhound's options, especially ones that can be safe if the Pike goes a roaming, which he does like to do. So the Tristan is one of those. I wonder whether we see something like the Ezreal taken away here as another one of those champions that has often been left alone on that bot side when people go roaming. We'll see.
Yone Zed would be the big options I would be thinking about. Cassante is a potential option as well, but Painful does need one of these AD champions. If they do go triple AP topside, though, that may not necessarily... Yasuo ban, okay, interesting. That may not necessarily be the worst thing on the planet, because then Pyke's power is still big. Problem, you need everybody else to get the guys low before Pyke goes in for that first reset, right? Unless he makes the catch himself, of course.
Catch is removed. This is the last one. Obviously, removing with the Senna. On the other side, you have to pick a jungle. You have to look into the bot side as well.
Yeah, Swain is up.
That is an amazing one, yeah.
That's actually very true. And I think the Ornn is something we've also seen. That's what Verdant used with the Senna as well. There are a couple weird ones you can do. Farming Nautilus with Senna is surprisingly good. But boring. It's boring, exactly. There are more exciting options. They like the Tomcat just gone, what's the next option? Well, I guess it's Nautilus. But it kind of does its job, and it also can make Pyke's life quite difficult, because Pyke is hard to kill because he's slippery. Nautilus has 3 bits of his kit that just prevent Pyke from moving anywhere, which can make things difficult. There's the Ezreal we're kind of wondering about. We are still likely looking for an AD carry mid, though I will say I think Painful was one of the ones that did successfully play Ezreal mid.
Yes.
So it could be actually that Ezreal mid still.
Yeah. I expect this to be going towards Painful. They're looking for an AD champ for him. It could go bot lane, though, because Pyke Ezreal is similar to Bard Ezreal, is similar to Rakan Ezreal, as we saw earlier from PlayStation, basically abandoning bot lane and doing whatever he wants. So that is a possibility. Or they can make life way harder, and now you don't know which one of them is going mid. If he's able to play Kai'Sa in mid lane, we'll see what ends up happening of the mid lane pick from his opponents. But let's see, right? So if it is Jace in towards Kai'Sa, they have to play really heavy all in there against a potential mid jungle that might specialize in skirmish. We'll see what they end up doing. You do have a lot of really good siege options from the side of Venom Crest, I will say. Decent-ish, kind of. I mean, I feel like Brand is faster. The armor passive that Graves have is not as effective.
Not very useful to Brand, yeah.
But Pyke doesn't necessarily like this. And you are running 2 AD carries, essentially, with that Pyke. And Kai'Sa, I like... Loads of AD carries are going to disagree with me, but you are all wrong. Kai'Sa is extremely useless and just terrible right now. You pretty much have to play her full crit. And even when you do that, the damage is inconsistent at best later on. All the poke builds are absolutely delusional. And that's what you prefer to go into Jace Senna, so yeah, Kai'Sa.
I think there is a build with Eclipse, Nash's, was it Nash and Rageblade and something else that is quite good for getting three upgrades very fast. That I've heard a lot of the AD carries quite like.
Yes,
I've heard, and I know Veteran hates it. I have heard other analysts go, actually, I think Molecule thought it was okay. I don't want to misquote there, but there are ways to play it that some people have been like it. But so look, I'm not going to fight on this one, but I know there are builds that people do quite like on it. Whether or not it's good, perhaps remains to be seen. Veteran hates it. My experience is it's been okay, but who knows?
I thank God that Kai'Sa doesn't actually have to kill. Kai'Sa actually just has to get them low enough for Pyke to go in and slam hard and do it all, and they do have enough damage in the composition to do that, right? It is a little bit of a squishy comp, and they do have to be quite brave and quite ballsy with it in towards that Jace that does outrange them, especially on the bot side as well. But you know what? I think they have the potential to do it here. They do play ballsy with this composition. This is their bread and butter. Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. That's the best sentence to jump into game with RUD and also Veteran. Oh, middle cut. What?
Well, thank you, Veteran. Welcome. Lovely to be here.
This is
honestly,
UK.
I love drinking tea. I love having long hair because I am Veteran, so I have lots of long hair. I I love extolling the virtues of eating fast food because you know the exact calorie count because the information is all put on there. That's one of the big things that I'm a fan of. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the cast. Right, Rude.
Mm-hmm.
2 rules for drafting against Venomcrest.
Okay.
I think Lightside followed rule 1 exceptionally.
They did ban Viego.
They did ban Viego.
Yes. All right.
But rule 2 snuck up on us
didn't
there.
ban Pike.
They did not ban Pike.
And then Venomcrest, they won rule 1 of pick one of the champs that isn't banned.
Yeah,
And they did that thing.
They did.
Yeah. Paggy Pike has been pretty crazy this split, and I'm actually excited to see what he can do. There's a lot of squishies on the flip side, right? Lightside have drafted no tanks.
Yes.
No, sorry, they drafted Nautilus.
Oh, yeah.
Pike could be good here, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. If you're getting someone below the execute threshold, like Veteran's referring to there, I think Kai'Sa can actually do that a fair bit. Pop people, we are going to be jumping into game. Welcome in, everybody, to our match of the day. Venomcrest, the surprise package, coming from Division 2 at the start of this split, and Paggy already showing the value of the Pike pick up against Lightside, forcing the response flash from Dr. Chaos.
And I want to talk a little bit about this Venomcrest roster as well, because I did an oopsie last week. Said that they built up from the ground of their Division 2 rosters. Complete lie. This is a fresh rebuild for Venomcrest. And they've done very well with this rebuild, let's say. 5-2, currently top of the leaderboard. If they win here today, they take sole possession of first place. And I think that this draft that they've picked up for themselves puts them in a decent enough spot to do it. I'm a big fan of Kai'Sa Pike as a duo lane. I'm a big fan of Painful's Ezreal in the mid lane. He's gone for PTA this time round as well. So he should be able to get a decent amount of chunking down onto Torak as well. Venomcrest, they're not done just yet. They did burn the flash of Dr. Chaos early doors, but now they're looking to use Zubak to invade even further.
Yeah, and Emp here on the Graves is just about going to be able to spot them out, and I feel like the issue for Graves as a champion is that he does need to farm up a fair bit before he becomes incredibly useful, and Zubak is going to opt for a similar playstyle here on the Brand. 50-50 here onto the blue buff. It's going to start resetting. Smite comes through! Emp able securing it. Zubak a little bit too fast on the trigger there, and Lightside win out of that early exchange.
Yeah, there's an element there with the patience bar hitting 0, both teams sort of jostling for resets and any HP that's coming back in. But yeah, you're quite right. Zubak went very early on that smite, and he did end up losing out for it.
Thoughts on Doran's Blade?
I like Doran's Blade.
It's a good item.
Stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Paggy's dead. He has no
Yeah,
flash.
it's going to be ignited here. The Q comes through for the slow. He can't get the regen coming through. Ragnar flashing, trying to secure the kill. We'll go to Dr. Chaos regardless. And hey, maybe Lightside knew something we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the element there with Hex Flash, you're able to engage maybe a little bit snappily extra there for Lightside, and Dr. Chaos manages to find that engage. And the Ignite, importantly, keeps vision on the Pike throughout the duration, and that's why the healing wasn't coming through from the Pike passive. Unfortunately, Ragnar did burn his flash to get a little bit closer, a bit of a closer spectacle of the Pike dying, but that's about it.
Yeah, and that is going to be something that Venomcrest will be aware of. I think this is a team that plays very well on those summoner spell timers and is very adept at punishing, not just as individuals, but as a group, as a unit. So Zubak, with his jungle camps, might be pathing towards that bottom lane, looking for something a little bit earlier than we usually see from a Brand.
And I do want to touch on the sort of identity that Venomcrest have built up pretty much this split. I think that Paggy Zubak have been a lethal duo and typically revolved around Painful as a 3-man to make plays happen. I think that the Brand actually a lot harder to get those plays rolling on, especially when you don't have a couple of items in your back pocket.
Oh, exceptional trade there from Lenny, who I feel like has been the third prong of that attack here for Venomcrest. Been able to generate so much pressure weak side in the top lane, and Actually here trying to generate something himself. Still is only level 1 here on the Pyke, so...
He's trying to generate experience for himself, I think. That's what I'm looking for.
Stealing it away from Painful is actually going to be able to hit that level 2.
Really, if you think about it that way, he's just stealing experience from Deadhound the entire time he's bot lane, so... Splitting the Thievery so that none of his solo laners get... Or none of his laners get too far behind. I like it.
I think stealing from multiple people instead of just stealing from one person is still fundamentally stealing. Ragnar, without that flash, could be the victim of some aggression here. The stun going to come through into the hook, into the snare. He cannot move at all. And Deadhound from downtown gets the kill.
So a really small thing that Venom Crest got executed perfectly there was Pagi used his Q, so obviously the stun, off of the stun from Zubak, and then Zubak used his pillar, the W, after the knockback of the Q had taken place from Pagi. So really nice micro interactions between the Venom Crest squad there to make sure they don't fumble that kill.
Smite going down there. Zubak continues to show aggression into the bot side. A lot like Johan from the Lions Creed game a little bit earlier. Deadhound not really been one of the big stars for this Venom Crest roster. You had to feel, and I mean that as no disrespect to him. I think he's had a fine performance so far in the NLC, but I'm intrigued to see whether he's given a bit more of an emphasis in this game.
And I think that when you've picked Kai'Sa as well, you've been given the tools just by default to step up a little bit and make some highlight reel worthy play. Kai'Sa a champion that you can montage on quite frequently, so definitely a window for Deadhound now to step a little bit above the pay grade that we've expected from him. And with that pickaxe in the inventory as well, I'm expecting that build that Initialize sort of pointed his head to with the Eclipse. Typically with this Kai'Sa build, I played it a couple of times. The pickaxe is the hardest part to get, even though you can get a Warhammer earlier on. Trying to base on more than 875 gold after your first reset can be a little tricky.
Do you remember when BF Sword used to cost like
50,
$1.50?
50.
Yeah. Oh my word.
And then you'd go back to base. That was the beauty of Ashe Sivir lanes. You'd leave, you'd do no fighting, you would go back to base, and if you'd been fighting until like level 7, or laning to level 7, you'd get BF Sword, Avarice Blade, and you would do the same thing again.
Constantly shove the waves without a care in the world. Zubak there demonstrating some of the power of the brand, just able to tear through those grubs so damn quickly, but Lightside, in quick order, going to respond with a dragon.
I like this early Rectrix from Emp, so this is a nice little index into a bit of movement speed to make sure that he can dodge out on the very lethal skill shots that are going to be coming his way. Venom Crest, very execution-oriented with this composition, right? If you miss a body slam flash, if you miss out on a stun from the brand, there's a lot of tools that, if they go wide, are very impactful.
Yeah, and I think the prowess and the power that Venom Crest has shown has almost overshadowed Lightside a little bit in this division, because they were the other guys coming up from Div 2, and they have retained elements of that roster. Bucci in the top side, Emp in the jungle, and then some guys that haven't really had too much of that Div 1 experience either. And 3 and 4 is not as impressive as 5 and 2, but it is still a very respectable scoreline, especially considering how close the league is.
Exactly. I really do enjoy the 2 promotees that we've had from Division 2 this season round, so shout outs to their performances so far this split. Of course, now Torak, a little bit of trouble, but he does have flash.
He's going to be forced to burn it.
No, he's not.
Can just walk himself away.
Walk away, Giga Chad. That's my combo. The power of Jace actually does come a lot from sort of deceptive movement speed that you can claim. Even without Phase Rush, your form change gives you a bit of movement speed. If you've got acceleration gate as well, that can give you a bit of movement speed to get out of tricky situations. So Jace there, more than adept, and Torak specifically did a good job at navigating those fights.
And what were we seeing there from Venom Crest? Again, no kill from it, but it was Zubak and Pagi pairing up, moving into the mid lane to try and gain themselves advantages. This game still actually in the favour of Lightside, and I think a big portion of that is actually what Bucci's been able to get done in this top lane. May have to hold that fight as 4 members of Lightside converging around the bottom side of Summoner's Rift.
I think what it might have to do with is the Dr. Chaos 500 gold lead that has randomly spawned in from First Blood. Also, Pagi's built a Doran's Blade. Again, if I don't know tech, I'm not going to try and tell them it's bad. I'm just curious as to what he's cooking up here. It's just, to me, it looks like a massive stat stick, right? Because you're selling this at some point. If you need a long sword, if you want to finish off an item. But that Doran's Blade just gives you an early game oomph that Pikes typically aren't going to get.
Yeah, well, I think to be fair, Pagi hasn't really been able to utilise, right? He's had one play where he's been able to get something going, but whenever I look at a Pyke and he's not got sort of 3-4 contributions.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, 3-4 long swords. I mean, that's a great build for him. But I think that tracking early game kill participation for a Pyke is very important because this is a champion that allows snowballing, but is also sort of necessitated to snowball.
So the way Pyke functions in late game, for those unaware, if even, Pyke is AFK until people are below 20% HP, and then he sneaks out from a bush and he ults you. Pazzi has been the exception, really, throughout this season because he's been proactive and typically also very far ahead. So he can stop trying to take 1v1s, weirdly, and also be able to contribute in these team fights. But if he goes into these team fights behind, it becomes really tricky for the Pyke to be able to get any sort of agency whatsoever.
Yeah, Emperor's actually been able to build up a reasonable CS lead here in the jungle, and whilst Venomcrest have made a couple of attempts to disrupt Lightside, I think it's been a great response from him to continue up on this farming spree.
I mean, by and large as well, just advantages across the board for Lightside. They're not big advantages, but they are starting to tot up, right? You talked about the top side as well, Bucci doing a good job. I think there's an element of respect that needs to be paid by Lenny, obviously with the Ignite Rumble in the top lane. There's that, ooh, he might have solo kill potential, and that extra lethality from the summoner spell choices goes their way. But, you know, Painful was more than happy to take the Ezreal into the mid lane. Ragnar and Dr. Chaos have slowly been able to build up their own advantage as well. Now with Zubak in at this Tribrush on the bot side, it's not protected. This could be the first glimpse of Venomcrest proactivity.
Yeah, all summoner spells available for the light side bottom lane though. Dr. Chaos hooks himself out of the Pillar of Flame, and just going to be some damage onto the Tower of Plate going over. Zubak still hanging around though, whilst Emp is securing objectives on the other side. Hook actually coming out here onto Paggi, has to flash away, will tick down another kill for the Lungvis light side, bot side.
And that's disaster if you're Venomcrest, right? You've put so many resources, specifically your jungler, into trying to make a play down on this bot side. Goal here could have been to get a dive, then turn that into a dragon, maybe take the turret, but now there's more.
Oh, flash from Dr. Chaos. He sees the overstep from Dead Hound and looks to punish appropriately. The shot blast patches him in the head as Dr. Chaos is still alive. Painful hunting for something is going to flash. Oh, gets the shutdown, but trades his life over. Flash away from Zubak as he's going to be able to survive in time, but Lightside are doing it against the top team in the league.
Coming into this game, my opinions on Lightside were Bucci and Emp are their carries, and that Dr. Chaos and Ragnar had been a little bit along for the ride. They are absolutely turning up for this game. It has been Dr. Chaos really sniffing engages out and kind of putting Paggi in his place on this Pyke, saying, you're being way too disrespectful to us, and picking them off twice now in a row. Looking for that 2 versus 2 once again when you get the jungler, but knowing that, okay, our jungler's on his way down, we've got move from mid, he's higher HP and we'll be able to do it.
Dragon going to be secured, and Lightside have got a little bit of history for doing this. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, they were able to take down Lion's Queen in a game that almost no one predicted that they would gain, and I think this is almost Ruddy-esque, right? We're being teased for what this team could potentially be, for how they still have a path into the playoffs. Still 3-4, not a bad scoreline by any means, and definitely in with a shot if they can grab a win here up against Venomcrest.
Absolutely, right? We've got currently 3 teams going to be sat around that 5-win marker. I think if Venomcrest lose here, that keeps it at that. And then Lightside, just 1 win away. So they are right in that conversation once again.
Yeah, and whilst Lightside have had a pretty fun time, actually, here in the bottom lane, their tower has been taking a beating. We've got minute 30 until the plates fall off. Zubak once again setting up, and Dr. Chaos getting caught out. He's going to go in with the hook, gets the aftershock to survive a little bit longer than maybe he should do, but will still go down in the end. First kill for Paggi, sharing that gold.
Now, Dr. Chaos has shown a couple of times that he's willing to go in. That instance, unfortunately, the numbers just weren't in his favor. If he'd have tried to use the Q to get out to safety, maybe there's a world where he lives. Would have still been a difficult road to get away, but he does resign himself to a death. But if we look in the minimap quickly, Emp once again. Zubak shows himself bot lane. I will take his topside jungle. Gromp and Wolves taken down. Manages to clear out that topside, and now Zubak is homeless for the next couple of minutes. And if he can clear this crab away on his way out, it's a 3-for-0 trade for camps, and again, really nice win, making the best of that bad situation.
Roam up over here from both supports, level lead. But Dr. Chaos, as it stands, Zubak here again. This is the gank squad that Venomcrest look to employ, but it's Lightside that are winning out so far, and I guess I'm wondering, what do we do? What are the next steps for the Swedish org?
I think that when you can combine the Pyke and you can combine the brand together, you definitely got the tools to, you know, make those plays and get CC, get damage as well. It's really important that when we look at how this Pyke composition works together, you want them to be paired up. You want somebody who's got the damage there as well to take those executes.
Our plate's going to be falling away. Light side pressuring up in the mid lane. Feeling very happy with how this game has gone thus far. Yomu's completed for Ragnar. Going for the farming center, interestingly, so the soul count going to be a little bit lower, but you can get towards those cheaper lethality items that bit quicker.
Yeah, and also this composition for Lightside, we didn't get to touch on it, but they played a very similar style of composition yesterday. They, instead of having the AP in the top lane, they took an AP, or instead of having an ADC in the mid lane, they've got an ADC in the jungle. This time they had Trist mid lane last time round, but it was Ragnar and Dr. Chaos, to be fair, having a pretty decent affair of things last time out. On a Senna Maokai, Senna Nautilus, fairly interchangeable at this point.
Yeah. Venom Crest looking for something though. Ashi throwing out a hook onto him, is going to be able to land it. Deadhound going in straight on top of the Graves and send him to his own, but Torak able to trade back in response. Painful, a little bit too far forward, goes over the wall, double kill for the Jason. Deadhound looking to chase him down, but not able to find him as Ragnar secures the first tower in the bottom lane. Venom Crest looking for Dr. Chaos in the mid lane, but the stun isn't going to land.
Torak in this mid lane, exceptional step up from this player. Again, somebody who I personally have been, you know, looking for more from in the mid lane, and showing up on this Jace pick has found himself up 700 gold now, 3 kills in his back pocket, moving first in the mid lane matchup earlier on, making the kills happen. Going in, flashing forward there to take down Painful when he's in the face of the Kai'Sa as well, shows that he knows A, his damage, and B, the damage that's able to be done.
Yeah, this Jace is one of the picks that I think like Torak has been able to sharpen. It's great to see him piloting it again, but Deadhound there with that killer instinct in. I think we're starting to see the combo that Venom Crest want to use. Zubak flashing to get the damage down onto Torak, but he doesn't land any of it. Dr. Chaos with his 3rd kill once again onto Pagi, and it feels like Venom Crest are grasping at straws.
They are, and you know what? Dr. Chaos deserves all 3 of those kills, right? Yes, he's playing Nautilus. Yes, he's a tank, support, whatever. He's been putting in the work to find these fights for Lightside. This should translate them into their 3rd dragon of the game, and they have low rolled, they've got a Cloud Soul, but that means that they'll be able to hopefully set themselves up for a lot more maneuverability when you're playing up against a Pyke and a Brand and all of these skill shot-esque champions. It's important that you've got move speed. We saw it right there. If they miss, Venom Crest have nothing.
Yeah, and Lightside piloting themselves very well. A lot of poise demonstrated by this org. Cloud Drake spawning onto the Rift. 3rd one of the game, 16 minutes in. Very rapid soul potentially on the horizon. Chaos flashing over the wall. Teleport coming through here just to secure this dragon. Anything else? And Venom Crest are falling behind in Lightside. They are accelerating.
In answer to my question, nothing. It was just a quick proxy, but like you say, Middlecott, it's a really good game from Lightside thus far. My concern is that that gold lead isn't super far ahead, but I'm looking at the composition for Lightside. Granted, their composition doesn't start fights with an overwhelming amount of ease. I think that they're relying very heavily on Dr. Chaos. So far, he's lived up to that. He's done what he's needed to, and he's started the fights as he needs to. And also, Venom Crest, there's an element of them maybe starting fights that they're not quite ready for.
Yeah, but I feel like to a certain degree they have to go for these sites because this isn't a composition that can really work from range. Yes, you can have those Deadhound skirmishes, engagements into the backline with the killer instinct, but someone has to take you there first, right? And if you're diving on top of Lightside, well, they don't really need all the engage in the world, and the fact that they've got 4 damage dealers on their squad is going to be so beneficial.
Yeah, this then to me adds the question of how good can Lenny's casks be? Because when you've got 4 damage dealers and you're looking for somebody to, you know, send that Kai'Sa into the backline, Gragas cask is the most reliable and the best way to set a Kai'Sa up, because not only does it apply CC, but it also splits people apart so that Kai'Sa can get isolated Q, fully channel that in, and you can then set up for a reset for Pagi.
And that's one of the big things about this Eclipse build, right? It's it's just one-shotting people with that Q. It does mean that Deadhound has windows of opportunity, windows of strengths where he maybe does damage and then does a lot. But it's still something that you need to play around as Venom Crest in the topside jungle.
One of the small things as well that you'll see from Deadhound's build path is he actually got himself an extra longsword so that he could get that Q evolve super early on. Rageblade only has one longsword built in it, but he had a second one pretty much as soon as he completed the Eclipse so that he could get around to that evolution as soon as possible. Now obviously has to sit on that 350 for a long time. Typical third items will be in Nash's Tooth, so if the longsword's just there to sit as a tool to give you an evolution, it's good enough.
Ooh, Lenny here stuck around a little bit too long in the top side, and that's maybe not the cast that we were looking for. Great collapse from Lumvis.
Not yet, but look on the map as well. We've got a bit of time on the bot side now for Painful. He'll be looking to take that mid tier or that bot lane tier 1 turret. It's actually Pagi pushing in the mid lane, of all people. That Doran's Blade putting in work, making sure that he's able to keep the waves nice and topped up and constantly forcing Lightside to answer.
Ooh, Dr. Chaos maybe in a little bit of trouble here. There is still a lot of damage on Venom Crest, and he's feeling absolutely all of it. First kill of the game for Zubac.
I actually also really like this adaptation from Pagi as well. Frequently with Pikes, you will see them go a Blood Song just so they've got that extra little bit of burst. Actually recognizing that he may well be the primary engage, he's gone for Celestial Opportunity, so there's a little bit less upfront burst that'll be headed his way, and his ability to stick in fights will be a lot higher.
Yeah, guys, he's pretty good at the champion.
And smart as well.
Yeah, no.
And
very,
handsome.
very good. Well, yeah, go on then.
You know? Good at League of Legends. It is what it is.
Absolutely, but I think the Venom Crest are probably going to be saying it is what it is a little bit more than Lightside at the moment, because coming up in a minute and 40, there is that Cloud Soul, and it's hard to hit the hooks against a comp like this that can play at such long range, and they've got that extra movement speed. It becomes even more difficult.
Of course, the beauty of a Cloud Tile, or maybe the hindrance of a Cloud Tile, depending on which way you slice it, how easy it is for you to get in and out of fights, how easy it is for you to find sooner and sooner engages. So we're looking to, you know, maybe hope that with a Cloud Tile you can look forward, use that accelerated movement speed when they're walking off of a tile so that you've got that advantage there.
Yeah, but the issue is, once you actually get into them, you've got to deal with 2 items on Bucci, 2 items on Ebb, 2 items on Toro, 2 on Ragnar. These carries are well and truly enabled, and yes, there is parity in a sense on Venom Crest, but the small differences in those inventories can make a difference. Maybe those 2 extra longswords that Torok's got are the thing that will take Lightside over the line in a fight.
Yeah, and right now they are on a really good set of items for Lightside, right? 2 items across the board, and their lethality as well before there's any armor built up on Venom Crest, so they are hitting like a truck, without a doubt. It is just pure damage that is going to be devastating if Venom Crest stand and take it.
Oh, Ragnar. Absolutely fine, because Pagi is hooked him in. That Celestial Opportunity going to be falling off him for the time being. Lightside position around the river.
Drake spawning, 10 seconds. It is Soul for Lightside. Remember, they've hit these really big spikes, and Deadhound taking those shock blasts. You've probably not got another one of those in you before you have to start basing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of burst, right? Take one more, and then M can just go forward, shotgun, collateral damage, and you're dead. But Venom Crest have to contest this dragon if they've got a hope in this game. Another shot blast landing, this time onto Painful. Low HP bars here for Venom Crest, and no real way to restore them. Dr. Chaos starting off the engage onto Lenny. Equalizer going to be dropped as Deadhound goes onto the Nautilus in the backline. M dropping low on the other side. Torok going absolutely crazy on top of Venom Crest. Still doing fine in the fight for the time being. Got the numbers advantage, but the health bar's definitely not there. A double kill for the Jason. Lightside peel back towards the dragon.
And despite a great cast split in that fight, it was a 5v2 for the most part. Lightside were able to step into the fight. They're able to start out this dragon, start up the Soul, and barring any acts of miracles from Pagi here, it'll be Soul the way of Lightside.
In a game that no one predicted Lightside to take, they are showing all of the doubters wrong, showing their class and showing up against one of the best teams in the region.
Now, there is an element, middle call, and I've been saying this for a few seasons now, of a fabled rooted win condition. Give Soul, take Elder. Cloud Soul sucks. This is not news to people. This is not the be-all and end-all win condition that you're looking for to find that killing blow in a team fight. The gold lead is 2,500. That's still very much recoverable for Venom Crest, and the lead that Lightside have is not nearly enough for them to feel super confident that in 5 minutes' time they will be able to storm or steamroll an Elder fight. There's a lot of work for them to do on Lightside's roster. They've done a great job so far, but it's not over. They're heading up toward this Baron now. They need to make the most of that.
Just face checking for Venom Crest becomes so difficult at this point because you have to go through Torok! Torok! Oh my words! That is absolutely disgusting. And the job for Lightside becomes a hell of a lot easier now. Painful going forward. Dr. Chaos once again finding a hook lane. He's splitting up the fight, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point. Lightside showed Venom Crest the dark side of their picks. Get a clean ace and head back to Baron.
That was way too much damage for a Jace to do. Just far too much. And again, you pick off Pagi, Venom Crest start to crumble. But talk about a step up, not just from Torak this game, but Dr. Chaos has been phenomenal throughout this entire game, stepping forward, finding hooks, finding engages that his team need. The criticism we had coming into this was it would be difficult for Lightside to start fights, but if they can do it, they've got the damage to back it up. Dr. Chaos has said, hold my beer, guys, let's find a fight.
They've completely torn up the rulebook. They banned the Viego page 1, but then they just stopped reading it, didn't care at all. Pazzi has been completely neutralized by Lightside in this game, and that gold lead significantly more in their favor. Baron for a few more minutes. Elder looks like theirs for the taking unless Venom Crest can find a miracle Hail Mary. But it's not looking likely at this stage. They're only going to get caught out looking for a flank, and it's Torok once again.
It's Dr. Chaos once again. He steps forward, he finds the hook, he takes down the Gragas. Tier 2 turrets are begging to be taken down by Lightside at this stage. I wonder if we can get a quick farm check on the Senna stacks just to see how much he's been farming on Venom Crest. This must be quite a lot, and he was hitting those turrets from a scarily long range.
And Venom Crest, what can they do, right? When Ragnar's got this rapid fire cannon, it's so difficult for you to actually find the engages onto the center. The tier 2 falling down. Dr. Chaos fishing with another hook. That one not connecting. Pagi finds something, but Bucci rocket belts forward.
Yeah.
No fear in this man.
And just for a reminder as well, the Nautilus or the Pike one shot initially, okay.
Not able to find Torok with anything at all.
Sidesteps the undertow, and then manages to get out on the hook as well. Really well executed by Torok once again on the Jace. This entire game has been flawless. 0 deaths for him so far this game. And yes, Dr. Chaos, he's racked up 4 deaths. He's playing Nautilus. His job is to go in. His job is to effectively start a fight. And every single time he's died, it's been for the greater good.
And it's the nature of the NLC. After Verdant lost earlier today, Venom Crest had the opportunity to gain sole control of first place, to finally give us a little bit of stratification, to finally show us who's the best team in the league. But Lightside say no. Lightside say die. Number 6 for Pagi.
100-0 in the space of the CC. Well executed. Lined up beautifully. You've got Last Embrace from Senna. All of the stuff that Nautilus can provide. And it's just clinical from Lightside. Set a trap in the jungle, clear vision, wait for them to walk into you. Pagi, unfortunately, has done that 1 time, maybe 2 times too many. The mid lane inhibitor down, they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, here goes Lenny with the engage onto Torok. Finally, someone is able to kill the Jace, but now you have to deal with everybody else. And spoiler alert, Venom Crest, you can't do it. Lightside take over. Emp drops 4. And they're looking for even more.
Pagi, you've got the Celestial opportunity, looking to cut the wave now, so that there's no end opportunity, but I think he's doing something else.
Here it comes, one more shot. Bucci steals the Penta, but Lightside won't mind at all. No one gave them a chance in this matchup, but they show us, they show Venom Crest, they show everyone in the NLC that you need to fear the Lightside.
And that takes them to within 1 game now. 4-4, 5-3. Have we got 6 teams within 2 games? What is the NLC middle card?
I have got absolutely no idea. It's crazy how high we were on Venomcrest coming into this game. 5-2, an insurmountable scoreline. 3-4. They've got no hope. 1 win now separating these teams. And if you thought the NLC was gonna go any way other than this today, then you have been proved wrong. The closest ERL by far. Analysts, we'll see you after the break.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
Can he get the recess? 1, 2, coming through. It is DMG winning the fight. They'll claim 3 as well. Rusty Sniper, the last of the targets to be found. No summoner spells, no way out.
Romeo finds the re-engage into the multi-man counter-strike. The shockwave, too little, too late for light side. Flashes away, gets on out of there, will burn down eventually, but Agony Pain goes forward and gets taken down. Ruddy are doing it. They find an ace.